What's good, everyone? In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why you probably used to be able to play your sport 6, even 7 days a week, go for 3, 4 hours playing with your buddies, playing competitively, and you woke up the next morning and you felt like nothing happened. Maybe you had a little tightness, little niggles here and there, but overall you felt good, you had all this energy, and you were able to keep on going the next day. I'm going to tell you why you've gone from that to now barely being able to wake up and walk. You walk, and the first few steps are limps. For the first 30 minutes of your day, you're an absolute zombie, barely moving with any kind of mobility through your body. And you basically go out there, you play a pickup game or you go for a run, and the next day your body feels like you got hit by a truck. So if that sounds familiar, in this video, I'm going to break down exactly why that is, and I'm going to tell you the exact process that I use with all of my clients to take them from that place of feeling super depleted, feeling like they can't even get out of bed some mornings, feeling like they can't go and do the sports that they used to do routinely. Going from there to being able to not only just participate, because again, you guys are high performers. If you're watching this, you don't want to just participate. You want to kick ass. You want to be a beast. You want to actually reach your athletic peak. And you want to just show out in whatever you do because you know that you're capable of that and you want to fulfill your potential, your max potential. So, starting with why you found yourself in this place. What I've seen in 100% of the cases is that your level of training or just simply the frequency of activity, the volume of activity has severely reduced. And now, whether that's because you were playing competitively in college and now all of a sudden life hits, you know you're not going to make any money from going pro, so now you're just doing your day job, sitting at a desk all day, and you're not really so focused on going out there and competing, going out there and really training your body in the way that you used to. So your body over time, it gets detrained because your body doesn't want to hold on to all of these adaptations that make you more athletic. That's so costly for your body. A lot of people don't understand this. When you have all of this strength, this power, this speed, even muscle mass, that costs more resources for you, for that athletic person with all of those attributes. It costs more resources than your average couch potato, than your average person who's not super fit, who's not super athletic. And so your body trying to be as efficient as possible is going to cut down the muscle. It's going to cut down the level of power that you're able to produce, the level of strength that you're able to produce. And so when things aren't being trained, when those qualities aren't being trained and you're not actually stimulating your body, forcing it to adapt and stay adapted, then you're going to go backwards. You're going to regress. And that's why there's really no such thing as maintenance. You're either going forward, pushing your body to keep adapting, or you're going backwards. If you're maintaining, you're just going backwards. I can't say that enough. That's why dudes who are at the top of their game, like LeBron, Ronaldo, whoever else, whatever other elite athlete, they're only staying at their baseline. Yet they're training so much harder than everybody else, and they're still just staying at their baseline. It's because your body needs an incredible level of stimulus in order to force it to compete and perform at those high levels. So you got to understand that first. If you've been in a situation where you were playing literally every day, you were going out playing basketball with your friends, or you were going out playing with the team if you were playing super competitively, and now you're just, again, you're sitting all day, you're hunched over your tech, you're in these stressful states. Now you got a lot more to think about. You're in the real world. You got to think about how you're going to pay bills. You got to think about how you're going to make your girlfriend happy. You got to think about how maybe some of you are going to retire your mom. You got to think about maybe your parents are getting a little bit sick and you got to take care of them. Like, you got to think about all these things now. Whereas when you were in college, you were in high school, man, there's no stress, man. Like, everything's taken care of for you, especially like if you were an athlete in college, then you know how pampered you are. Even if you went to a Division 3 school, a Division 2 school, most of you were still pampered. Most of you had the time of your life. Like, you just went out to party and you got free food all the time. You had a place to stay. You didn't have to worry about anything like that. So life was just chill. And the effect that stress has on your body is so overlooked. And that's another point here why you're in this state now where your body feels so restricted and you feel depleted. It's because of your levels of stress. You're not managing your stress properly. And now, of course, a huge part of this is figuring out your life. Like, I know for me, I went from college to being thrown out in the real world. I was living in New York City. Luckily, I was just able to bum it on my sister's couch in her living room for a while until I figured it out. But that was stressful. Like, she didn't want me on that couch. Like, she obviously was nice enough to invite me, but I knew there was a pressure to figure shit out so that I could get my life going. And at the time, I was still training actually pretty hard. I was training with Columbia University. I was volunteer coaching with them. And I was getting coached as well to still like improve my high jump marks. And what I found was that in retrospect, the stress was just too great. Like, the training was really good and everything was smooth. My nutrition good, but it was just the stress that weighed me down. And it wasn't until I was able to get my life situation settled, finally, like, it took a while. It was really a process. That's when that stress melted away. That's when, funny enough, I started feeling a lot better in my body as well. Now, of course, I was doing all of this movement and all of this and that, therapies to like make sure that my body was good and healthy and my joints were actually like improving in their function and in their ability to do their job and feel good. But still, the physical wasn't enough. It was the mental, emotional, the spiritual, if you will, that was really tying me down, that was making it so that I could do whatever physically to get my body right. But just that stress weighing down on me, it didn't really allow me to fully get to the place that I wanted to go and have lasting results in terms of my body feeling free, light, fluid, and all of that. Those heavy feelings that you're sitting with while you're doing work all day, you're stressed about your boss, you're stressed about whether you're gonna keep your job. I know if you're a software engineer, I have a client right now who's sweating, man, and he finds that like literally on his Whoop scores, when he's at work, literally just sitting, his HRV is shit, his recovery is shit. Like, he's just in a place right now where it's tough for him to really get the most benefits out of training and to feel good in his body the way that he wants to, because his body is holding on to all this stress. And stress is directly linked to physical tension in your body, because when you're stressed, your cells actually get signals from your nervous system to tighten up and get restrict, like your muscles, your fascia, your soft tissues in the body, they actually are tensing up and getting restricted in response to you being in a stressed out mental and emotional state. So circling back, it's number one that the reason why you're in this predicament now with your body feeling like shit and not being able to do what you used to, it's because number one, you have severely, drastically decreased your training volume, your activity volume. So now when you go play, it's not like playing one game of basketball anymore. It's like playing 5. It's like that because your body has just regressed. It has done the opposite of adapted. It's gone backwards. So that's the first thing. It's because of that. And number two, it's because you're holding on to all this stress. And number three is related to what I was just telling you. Now, the reason why this one, I saved it for last, it's the third reason, is because if you take care of number two and you're not in this hugely stressed out state all the time, then number three is not going to affect you. It's actually going to be good for you. And it's sitting. It's sitting all day. Sitting should be a regenerative activity. It's restful. It should bring you up. It should recharge you. But because you're in this state where you're just so stressed out, so locked in on work, you're outside of your body, just focusing on all these things outside of yourself, as opposed to being inside of your body, as opposed to staying relaxed, as opposed to staying nice and cool and even. You're in that place, sitting is stressful because you're in a stressful state. It's not stressful because sitting itself is stressful, but because you're in a stressful state. And then you are now sitting in the same positions all the time where your hips are stuck in this flexed position, your low back is rounded, your chest isn't collapsed, your shoulders are rounded forward. When you combine that with the stress that causes your body to restrict, that's where the issues come. So you combine all these three things, guys, you having a significantly less training volume and load than you did in the past, like you're not as active as you were before, and you being in this stressed out state chronically, and then number three, you sitting in these chronically stressed out states with poor posture. All three of these things are really tough on your body, and it makes it pretty much impossible to perform in the way that you used to. So the solution is to fix all of that stuff, right? So starting with the hardest one, honestly, which you're just gonna have to do internal work on, you're gonna have to figure out your life with, is just really managing your stress. It's understanding that you can only control what you can control. It's accepting exactly where you are in your life. And although you're accepting, that doesn't mean you're taking the necessary steps, the actions to get to a more desirable state. But you gotta be comfortable and accept where you are in the present so that you can make the best steps to act. And not only so that you can make those steps, but so that you can feel fulfilled in the present, no matter what. Because otherwise, you're always going to be chasing that next income level, that next house, that next girl, whatever it is. You're going to always be chasing better and better and never really be satisfied. And so you got to understand that first and foremost. Accept where you are. Yeah, sure, you're working a job you don't love, but it's paying the bills. And let's talk about the exit plan. What is your exit strategy? You're going to do this job, you're going to make enough money, then you're going to put that money into starting a business that you might want to do, or whatever other side project, whatever the case may be. So make your exit strategy, really craft the kind of life that you want. You're the architect in your life, you're the artist in your life. Understand that and start just painting that picture. Start being creative. And that's what's going to take you from being so demotivated, unmotivated, whatever the word is, and not really having direction and being stressed out all the time, to now having hope. You now have a plan. You now have a vision. So you know how to act, you know what direction you're going in. And that's, in my experience, it eases stress. It melts away that stress, that worry like nothing else. Not more, or not even meditation, not any kind of breathing techniques, not any kind of grounding, nothing. No therapy, nothing is going to help you until you get to the root of why you're stressed, which is the fact that you're just not really happy with your life. You're not really happy with where you are. And part of that isn't necessarily just the kind of life you're living and what's in it, but your perception of what's in your life and your acceptance of what truly is. So I won't spend too much more time on that. I know that's really high level. Maybe you weren't expecting this kind of conversation here, but that's so crucial. That's so crucial in allowing you to just step into the body that you want, step into the level of performance that you want, feeling good in your body. I'm telling you, the mental, emotional stress weighs you down physically. So you want to get rid of that. So that's number one. Number two, you want to focus on your posture, your alignment. Now, I have a lot of videos on that, so I'm not really going to focus on that too much in this video. So just fix your posture, fix your alignment. Now, you don't need to hold perfect posture every single point in the day, 24/7. I mean, you see me, I'm just chilling. I'm just not really too concerned about it. What I do is when I work on my posture, I work on my posture. So for a couple hours a day, 3-4 hours if I'm training that long in a day, that's when I'm focusing on my posture. That's when I'm focusing on making these changes more permanent. But when I'm just sitting here, I'm not gonna like slump into these absurd postures, right? These totally brutal postures, but I will just relax. That's my main thing. Like when I'm sitting down, I relax. I'll change positions quite often. If you have a standing desk at home, sit a little bit, stand a little bit, even kneel. Sometimes I like kneeling a little bit. If your job allows, even just sit, like lay on your side, like do whatever, like just like chill. Like it's okay to sit back a little bit. Then sometimes maybe you want to sit up really nice and tall. Whatever it is, just change it up, stay as relaxed as possible, and then let your training do the work. Let your training ingrain those better movement patterns so that you don't have to consciously think about it. That's what my clients see, is that as we do the work, without even them thinking about, oh my God, I gotta worry about how I'm sitting, without them doing that, they see that they naturally improve their posture. They see that naturally they grow an inch or two and people are asking them why they look taller. That's a very common thing. And so their posture improves not by focusing on posture all day, but by focusing on improving it through the exercises, the workouts that we do. So that's number two. And then lastly is your training volume, your activity volume. You got to start from ground zero. You got to be real with yourself about where you're at. Right now, your body's capacity before something breaks might be one game of basketball or one 30-minute session of pickup soccer. It might be 2-mile runs. And that's really hard, because if you used to be a competitive athlete and you used to go out for 10, 15, 20-mile runs at a time, you used to play basketball for 3 hours at a time every single day, you used to play on the pitch like with your friends for literally hours, it's gonna be hard to go backwards, trust me. But if you really cut back, you're gonna see that over time, you're actually able to do more and more and more and more. And it's because you're building on the right base. If you take a step back and at the same time, you're working on your mechanics, you're working on your posture, then you're gonna be building that ability, that volume on the right base. So if your capacity right now is one game of basketball before something starts to blow up, then start playing one game of basketball. Just do that consistently. Play one game of basketball 3 times a week. Then the next week, you go and play, let's say for 70 minutes. Instead of just 60 minutes, you do 3 70-minute sessions. Then the next week, maybe you add one more session. Instead of increasing the number of time in one session, you just increase the number of sessions. So now you do 4 70-minute sessions. So increasing like that, and let's say you can't even play pickup basketball right now without experiencing pain. you need to go backwards. I know that sounds crazy. I know that's going to be tough for a lot of you, but go backwards. So maybe you just shoot around at 60% intensity. That's another thing. You can really adjust the intensity as well, because that's another factor that's going to be playing into your pain, your injuries, your tightness, whatever the case may be, is your intensity. So let's say you're able to play basketball just by yourself shooting around at 70%, but once you start like actually playing with people and you're going 90% speed, that's when your ankle will start bugging out. That's when your hamstring will start tightening up. That's when your low back will start aching. Then you went too hard. You went too fast to that 90% intensity. You need to slow down. Now, I will say a good gauge for where you're at is how you feel the next day. If you feel worse the next day, like let's say you had a little bit of calf tightness, or you had like a 2 out of 10 pain in your ankle, if that's worse the next day, you did too much. If it's the same the next day, that's totally fine, because now you got a training stimulus in, you actually stimulated your body and it didn't get worse. So that's good. Now, over time, you just continue doing that and you continue ramping up without feeling worse the next day. And over time, you're going to find that in a sustainable way, you've now gotten back to where you used to be. It's really that simple. You just got to be patient. And most people, whether in training or in their life in general, are not patient. And that's what holds them back. And so if you can just stay patient and really take the time to go backwards and slowly build up as you're working on your posture, your movement mechanics, so that your joints are operating how they should, they're not rubbing against each other, causing all these issues. If you do that and you really make sure that you get a strong hold on your training volume, your activity volume, and at intensity as well. If you do that, in no time, you're gonna get back to where you were maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago for some of you. So I know that process could feel a little bit daunting. You might not know where to start. You might not know exactly how to assess how much your training load should be. You might not know how to even improve your mechanics. Maybe you understand a little bit, but you're just tired of watching all these YouTube videos and trying to gather information from all these different sources on Instagram, all these different influencers telling you different things. If you want help with that and you want to build a strategy to, again, take you from that place where you're not feeling good in your body every morning, every time you try and get out to the court, try and go out for runs, you're for the first 30 minutes of it in pain and feeling super robotic and tight, and then the next day you feel like you got hit by a truck, to just start the cycle over again. If you want to go from there to being at your athletic peak, where you can literally go and do whatever activities you want. Your friends call you to go run a marathon. Hell yeah. Your friends call you to go play pickup basketball. Yes, sir. Your family wants to run around with you. Your kids want to run around, or your future kids want to run around with you and just play and just like ride their bikes, and you're chasing after them, whatever the case may be. If you want to be in that position where your body is resilient enough to handle whatever the hell it is you want, and you want my direct help creating that strategy to help you get from that point A to point B, book a call down below. We'll chat it up. We'll see if it makes sense. We'll kind of get an understanding of exactly where you're at and what you've tried in the past, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and just really uncover the gaps that are leading to you feeling the way that you're feeling right now, depleted and just degenerated. So if that sounds good, then just book a call down below and we'll get everything figured out. And that being said, if this is something that you're really serious about and you really want to make sure that you're getting to the next level, then of course, again, you have two options. You can either keep watching my YouTube videos, keep watching my content and doing this stuff on your own, which of course you can do. But at the end of the day, getting somebody who's actually done what you want to do, who's gotten the results that you want, is going to cut your learning curve to a fraction. So if you want to pay with time, then that's your choice for sure. You can probably figure this stuff out. It's just going to take years. But if you want to speed that up and you want results in 12 weeks, then hit me up, book this call, and we'll get you ready. Let's get it. See you on the other side.